Do you know the three biggest mistakes people make when they launch their podcast? If not, you will after this episode. Stay tuned. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Best Advice Podcast Show. We have an awesome expert today, and she's going to give us some really juicy tidbits to help us. Well, you'll see. Welcome, Aeoliana?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I'm so sorry. Aeoliana Elliott, welcomes to the show.
Thank you so much.
So I told them you're going to give us some juicy nuggets, right? So tell them exactly what you do so then they'll know like what I'm talking about.
All righty. Yes. So the juicy nuggets are going to be about podcasting. So I am a podcast launch strategist, and I focus on not just the tech, but also on our mindset and how our thoughts and our feelings dictate our actions and our results, and balance, communication, all of those things, which are important in a podcast when you're trying to get your message across.
Wow, I agree with that. So how did you think to combine all that? Because usually when people think podcast launch, you just think of like the technical things and get a name and maybe like your audience and like that's it, right?
Yep. So the way I came about it was just from listening to podcasts. I was listening to a lot of actual podcast management podcasts and things like that. And that's what I did at the beginning. And it seemed like a lot of that was missing. And it seemed like the people that were calling in or, that were talking to those podcast managers or those podcast coaches at the time had the same questions over and over again. And it was always around, how do I balance, this with everything else I'm doing? How do I handle the burnout and the feeling overwhelmed? How do I keep going when my numbers don't show what I want them to show? And I started looking at in my own, mindset journey of figuring, some things out for myself. I realized that everybody has the same mental blocks, the same, mental hurdles to go through. They just show up in different ways. And if they're not addressed, they'll keep showing up. And so I figured, I'm like, well, anybody can teach the tech. Anybody can talk to somebody about, the strategy and everything behind a launch and how you should launch a certain way. But I like to infuse the mindset part of it because I think it not only benefits your podcast, it also benefits your life and the life of those around you.
So what you said definitely makes me light up because I'm really into mindset. Like I totally agree with you wholeheartedly. So what were when you started this, right? This strategy, what were your first experiences? Like, were people like, why are you talking to me about mindset? I want to, make my podcast succeed. Like, why are you talking to me about this thing?
Ready to transform your life or just tired of feeling stuck? Conquer stress, boost confidence, overcome fears, and more. Unlock your potential with a private mindset coaching session with Angela. Your breakthrough begins here. Visit newmindsetnow.com. So don't wait. Book your session now.
I have two types of people. So it's about 50-50 with that answer. So sometimes people don't know that what they actually need is mindset. And sometimes they do. So when they don't, it's just a matter of, okay, that's fine. We're just going to work on the tech and then, kind of nudge them in that mindset, like with goal setting and things like that. And then if they already understand that they need to work on their mindset and that's what's blocking them, then, we work with that. But I can do, either one. So many people don't realize that it's a mindset issue because they're not working on their mindset. It's only when you jump into that mindset and start working on it yourself that you realize this is an ongoing thing for everyone. It's not new. I'm not the only one experiencing it.
Okay. So my question is, what do you think are like the three biggest mistakes that people make when they launch their podcast? I mean, like not in terms of like intentional when you launch something new, you're going to make mistakes, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Situation. But like, what about unintentional mistakes that you think they make when they're launching?
Okay. One of the biggest ones I'll have to say is not knowing what your goal is with your podcast. So that can be as grandiose of a goal as you want to monetize it, or as simple as a goal of you want to get it published at least once a week. You have to make sure that you set a goal for yourself, because without a target to shoot for, you don't know whether or not you're taking the right steps to get there. The second thing is assuming that just because you have an idea for a topic that you're able to launch a podcast. So what I tell my clients is sit down and write down 52 topics that you can talk about for 30 minutes without interruption on whatever topic you're thinking about, whatever that is, doesn't matter. But if you can't sit down and write down at least 52 topics, which would cover you one episode a week, 52 weeks in a year, that'll give you 52 episodes. If you can't do that, then you need to figure out a topic that you're passionate about that you can write down 52 things for. And the third one is, a lot of women were guilty of this, is feeling like we don't have enough to say, like our voice doesn't matter, like someone else has already said this. What can I possibly bring to the table? What am I going to say that's different than what has already been said? And to that one, I say, the magic is the fact that you are saying it. You are going to bring a different flavor, a different feeling to whatever it is that you're saying. I was talking to someone about a month ago, and I said, you can take 6 different people and have them all say good morning, and it's going to sound different from every single person, because it's a different person. It's not the same. So those are the 3 things that I see the most.
I absolutely love number 3, because I tell people a lot of people feel they're worried about competition.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a career coach, but there's so many career coaches, so maybe I should do something else, even though I really want to be a career coach. And it's like, what makes it different is you.
Yep.
So I got chills when you said that, because I think that message is so powerful for so many people watching in so many aspects. Like, if you're an entrepreneur, or no matter what you're doing in life, worrying about other people, and like stagnating and being stuck because you're worried about that is just a waste of time.
Yeah. I was doing a workshop with this coach. Her name is Sage Grayson, and she did a workshop about niching or niching or whatever, however you want to say it. And I've had a lot of trouble figuring out what my niche was. Like, I know I do podcasting, but that encompasses so much. And in the workshop, like near the end, she says, you are your niche, like you are your brand. So you don't have to worry about fitting into a specific box. You are the box. So whatever you want to do, however you want to teach it, however you want to approach it, you can, because no one's going to compete with you. Like, it's your thing. And I was like, oh, Eureka. That was like, I love that.
Yeah, I definitely love that. And also, the people who are meant for you
Yep.
are going to resonate with you. They're not going to resonate with the other ones, even if they're standing right next to you saying the same thing. So
Yep.
I love that so much.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. So on the flip side of that, if you listen to that voice that tells you you don't have anything new to say, imagine the people who are out there waiting to hear what you have to say. Like, what kind of a disservice are you doing to them? They're not going to get any change because you haven't said what you need to say to them. They're still going to be waiting.
I love that. I love that. So what's the best part about doing what you do?
I love one-on-one connection. Like, I love talking to people one-on-one. And just when people realize the magic in their voice and the magic in their story, and that, something that you might have thought, like initially, a lot of people start podcasts because they think it's a good way to monetize, but then somehow they realize that it's so much more than that. You know, like you may not get the numbers you want right away, but maybe you get a comment or an email from someone that says, thank you so much for sharing this story. I was going through something similar, or I was able to help someone going through something similar because I listened to, you know, what you said, or something you said in your episodes helped me go through XYZ or whatever. Or I never thought about doing my job this way until I heard something on your podcast. So it's just that transformation of, it's a lot more than you know, it's a lot more than just the episodes and just the entertainment. It's, you know, it's going beyond that.
Yeah, I love that. What do you say to the people who are like, well, I do want a podcast, but I'm not sure if I'm comfortable doing it alone.
You know, if you can find someone, I actually just finished recording a workshop on this, actually. It's funny. Um, if you can find someone who will do it with you, that you trust, that you both have the same, you know, goals, mission, vision, and values, I'd say go for it. Have a co-host. Do interviews, you know, just like you're doing right now. You know, find people that you want to talk to, that you want to have conversations with, and share the space with them. You don't have to do it alone if you don't want to. A lot of the some of the ones that I get to is, I don't want to be on camera, since so many podcasts are now on video. They're like, I don't want to be on camera. And I was like, you don't have to. It's an extra way to repurpose, absolutely, but you don't have to. You could just be your voice. It doesn't have, you don't have to show up on anything.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree with that. I started out that way. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Until you get comfortable, do I think one thing that a lot of people teaching podcasting and coaching in podcasting is, they try to tell you that you have to do all of these things, but they don't take into account your energy, your, you know, like how much time you have to invest, how much, you know, you really want to go in on it. And I think if you have a family, that's an added, not stressor, but that's an added commitment that you can't exactly get rid of. You know, it's your family. So when I tell my clients, I'm like, you have to make sure you know how much time you have available. You have to know how much energy you have available from month to month. You have to know how, what other commitments do you have? Like for myself, I'm a full-time paralegal, I'm a wife, I'm a mom, and I do podcast launch strategy. So that's a lot of stuff. So you know, you have to be able to, I call it, my husband calls it man brain. You have to be able to compartmentalize everything. Like, I don't know if you've ever read the book, Men Are Like Waffles, Women Are Like Spaghetti, or something like that. That's like, okay. So basically what the premise of it is, men are able to, if you've ever looked at a waffle, they have like perfect squares, right? So men are able to compartmentalize things in these, you know, in different squares in their mind. Women's brains are like spaghetti. Like all of our stuff flows together. There's no, you know, our family stuff flows into our work life, into our passions, into all of it. We can't separate one from the other. And so it's just realizing that that's how your brain works, and saying, okay, for this moment, I'm going to work on this. For this moment, I'm going to work on this, and giving yourself the time and expending the energy for that particular thing without trying to spread ourselves too thin, if that makes sense.
It does make sense. And I appreciate you saying that. Because a lot of women feel they have to be superheroes, right?
Yeah. And we are, just because we are, not
Yeah,
because we do anything. We
but
just,
like you have to be, right?
yeah,
Like you never can say, no, I'm not going to do this because I'm going to focus on this. So, and sometimes women feel guilt about that, right?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I love that you said that.
absolutely.
With everything you've experienced and everything that you've seen or overcome, what's the one best piece of advice you could give to any woman watching right now?
My biggest piece of advice is something I learned from a coach this year. And it's take action, but not just for action's sake. So in every action that we take, in every relationship, and every person that we meet, there's two outcomes. You either get the outcome that you wanted, or you learn the lesson that you needed. So that's been something that's been with me like all year. I use it all the time. I like all the time.
Wow.
Good things, bad things. It's all, there's a reason for everything.
Yeah. I'm like sitting here letting it soak in, like, wow. That was great. Well, thanks so much for being with us today. Uh I'm sure there was like some notes being taken and everything. I hope so, because that was some really good information that you gave.
Thank you.
I want you to have an awesome weekend and thank you for being with us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
And thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share this with someone you care about. And as always, keep growing and keep going.